Alessandro, welcome to Grow Your Show.
Hi, Daniel. Nice
I love
meeting
that.
you, and thanks for inviting me.
Well, there's a nice little jingle there. You know, Alessandro, welcome to Grow Your Show. It kind of rhymes, right? It kind of goes. And I love that name. It's Italian, right? Italiano.
Yes,
So it's not
yes.
Alessandro, it's Alessandro.
Alessandro, yes, fine, with a double
Alessandro.
S, and and and
Oh,
it's quite common here, but it's a beautiful name.
yeah. Alessandro. There we go.
Very good.
Oh, I love it. So, you know, tell us about your podcast. What's the podcast called?
Okay, the podcast name is Mindfulness in Voce, which is the Italian version for mindfulness in voice,
Mindfulness in Voice.
spoken mindfulness.
Oh, I like that.
And it's a podcast about mindfulness, which is a meditation technique.
Hmm.
Well, not just a meditation technique, it's an ancient meditation,
Hmm.
which 30 or 40 years ago was brought to the Western world by an American doctor, whose name is John Kabat-Zinn.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
And from then it has become well, more than a meditation. It's now used in schools, in medical practice. So it's something which has to do with personal well-being and personal growth.
Love it. And when did you start the podcast?
I started in April 2017.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's three and a half years ago.
Okay. And you've got almost 1 million downloads. Is that right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
incredible.
I think in a couple of days.
Oh, yeah. Well, whoever's listening to this right now, I want you to go and subscribe to the podcast to give him a push so we can get him to that million. Is your show in English or Italian?
No, it's in Italian.
Okay,
It's in Italian.
so
Sorry.
if you speak Italian, then you can go and obviously subscribe to the show. Um, what I really like about having you on, Alessandro, is that you're international, right? There's a lot of people that I know who are doing podcasting in the US, and I know that the US it's huge. It's a huge market. How big is it in Italy?
It's growing. It's
Hmm.
growing fast.
Right.
And one of the reasons of the growth of my show is that when I started in 2017, well, the podcasting world in Italy was, well, not a desert, but almost. I mean, there were few podcasters, and
Hmm.
so there was a huge space to grow.
Mm.
And that's one of the reasons I think I'm getting to 1 million downloads. Probably if I started today, it would be much more difficult.
Okay.
There's much more competition. And another reason was that I chose a niche,
Yeah.
which is very, very specific. So mindfulness is not so popular, but actually it is popular because people wants to hear about mindfulness. So it's niche, but it's felt.
Hmm. So what kind of guests typically do you look for on your
Oh,
podcast?
it's a solo podcast.
Oh, it's on your own, so you don't have any guests on the show. Interesting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why did you decide to do that and not to have guests on the show?
Well, because the idea at the beginning was to take English articles published on medium.com,
Mm.
which you probably know.
Yep.
And so the podcast, the work that I do is I choose an article which I think is interesting about mindfulness. I translate it into Italian. I try to translate it so that it sounds not a written word, but a spoken word. And then I go on air, so I speak it on the microphone. So every episode is a different article.
I love it. So you basically you're taking content that's already been written, it's already existing, and you're pretty much taking it, borrowing it, whatever you want to call it, and just repurposing it for your podcast. I mean, that's brilliant. So you're not even
Perfect.
You're not even coming up with original content, which is awesome. That's amazing.
well, it's a kind of content curation.
Yes. Yeah, content curation is huge. I mean, that's what YouTube and Google does essentially, is curates content. That's all they do. So a lot of people listening to this, if you're thinking about, well, I don't know what to talk about, I don't know what topics to cover, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to come up with your own, unique new ideas or concepts necessarily. You could just see what's already out there, maybe in a different format. So maybe it could be in a book, could be on a blog, or it could be like Alessandro did, which is, I'm going to say that a few times, I hope you don't mind, on medium.com and just looked for articles that were interesting to his audience. By the way, that's what I love about guests, is that in a way, the guests do most of the content for me when I have guests on my show. So that's why I always recommend having guests on your show if you can. But Alessandro has done it very interestingly. I love that. Have you started to monetize the podcast?
Yes, but not in a direct way. I mean, I don't have sponsors. I don't have ads in my episodes. I don't have any Patreon, but I once in a while I promote my business, which is online mindfulness courses. So I monetize that way, but I'm thinking about monetizing with ads, because I think that the numbers that I have could be enough to have a side income.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of people, they say, how am I going to monetize my podcast? And the first thing that comes to mind is, finding sponsors or ads. And personally, from, my own experience and speaking to a lot of other podcasters, that is the last thing you do. Really, because when you get to 1 million downloads plus, okay, then it makes sense to have ads, because obviously then it pays. But before that, it really doesn't pay, and people hate it. People listening to podcasts, they don't really want to hear these annoying ads. It's interrupting. It's not enjoyable, and it doesn't pay. They don't pay much. It's not worth it.
Agree.
My show, I monetized it like you, Alessandro. I did it indirectly, where sort of I had my own agency, and that's how I sort of monetized the podcast. And a lot of other podcast hosts that I'm speaking to are saying the same thing: is you got to have your own product, your own service, whatever it is, because that's going to make you more money than getting other people to sponsor. You mentioned before that it's only because you started early that you got to 1 million downloads. Does that mean that someone listening to this now that's just started out, they're not gonna get to that $1 million that million download stat? Is it game over for them? Is it too late?
No, I don't think so. I'm very, very much, I do believe that quality is the turning point. So if you have a good idea and you have good content, you can make 1 million downloads now, as I did. So I strongly believe in the quality of my show, not because I don't want to look, as I am the king of podcasting, because I'm not. But I think that if you do the things right and you have patience and you keep working on your show, sooner or later you will get the results.
Are you guesting on other podcasts? Are you being a guest on other podcasts as well?
You are the first.
No, are you serious? That,
Yes, I'm
woohoo!
serious.
Wow, my goodness. I feel so honored. I'm the first person to interview you. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Why have you not been guesting on that? Is it because in Italy there's not so many podcasts that are serving your audience, so it doesn't make sense for you to go on those shows, or is there another reason why you haven't been doing it?
Well, there is some place I could go to to be a host, but really I have never thought about it. I'm just minding to do well my work, my show. I know and I'm aware that I could have several different ways to improve it. But I mean, I at the moment I do the best I can. But
Mhm.
probably I will follow your suggestions because I think there is room for that. For example, being on shows just like I'm doing with you,
Yes.
and probably trying to get some sponsors in my show
Yeah,
with well, I mean, in a soft way, because as you said before, I don't think listeners, maybe US listeners, are more used to have a lot
mm,
of ads.
yeah,
In Italy, shows with ads are not that much,
yeah.
are not that many. So I don't know how the people, the listener, would take it.
Right. Well, I think in terms of ads, the best advice that I've seen given out is you want to make it sound very organic. So it doesn't look like or sound like an ad. The best thing to do is for the host to be the one that does the ad and the
Yeah.
promotion rather than, like all of a sudden, okay, we're going to take a break now to listen to this ad. Then no, everybody's going to fast forward. No, everyone's going to skip. No one's going to listen to that. But if we're in the middle of the show and I say, hey, by the way, I've been using this deodorant recently, and it's amazing how it's incredible. It works so well. Whatever. I don't know why I thought
Yeah.
of why I I actually do know why I thought of deodorant, because I just smelled BO. I went for a little run and I haven't put deodorant on. So there you go. That's the reason why I thought of deodorant. But that's just an example of, and deodorant's a bad example for this show. This show would probably be better off saying, hey, by the way, if you're thinking of starting a podcast, you got to go for the ATR 2100 microphone, because that's what I've been using for the last, 4 years. And if this sounds good to you, then, well, this is how it sounds. That's a great product, a perfect placement. So for you,
Yeah.
maybe mindfulness, it might be, maybe there's a mindfulness app, meditation app that you would just recommend, your audience. So you gotta make it more native. I think that's the key with ads. Um,
Yeah.
but as you said, and I think you're 100% right. It doesn't pay to do ads. At least when you're early in the game.
Yeah.
Um, that's very cool. So what did you do, I guess, to get your first 10,000, 100,000 downloads? What were you doing?
Um, well, I would probably, and that's actually what I did. I would use some social media promotion. I'm not really a guru of social media promotion, so it's a world very far from me. But for example, I started since the beginning to post my episodes on specific mindfulness groups on Facebook,
Oh, that's interesting.
Italian groups.
Right.
Uh,
So
um,
you basically found where your audience already is. You found the community, and you
yeah,
just went to where the community is, essentially, right?
okay, that's fine, that's good. I think it's not so great a part of my audience, but it's starting to be important. The main part of my audience, I think, comes from spreading the show on tens and tens of platforms, starting from iTunes and then Apple Podcasts, but everywhere I found a platform, I put my feed in there. And I think that a piece there, a piece there, a piece there, I mean, I'm coming to the numbers I told you before. So that's the main source of my audience. But social media, I think, can do a lot if you are good at it, and I'm not.
Okay. Is your podcast audio only, or do we do video as well?
Audio only.
Okay. Any reason why you didn't want to also do video and then, put it up on YouTube and other places like that?
I thought about going video, but it's probably too much time. It's probably too much time. And maybe also I started with this idea that podcasting is audio, it's not video. Yeah. So I don't want to say that I'm a purist, but well, in a sense, I am.
You are a purist. Yeah.
Yes, I prefer audio. I prefer audio. And one of the reasons also my show is I think, and I hope is appreciated, being a solo show, is that I keep, every time I keep my episodes under 10, 15 minutes. The average episode is between 5 and 10 minutes.
Wow, that's it. So it's bite-sized, really. Bite-sized episodes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because being solo, I don't have a voice that can probably, attract people. I have a normal voice.
I like your voice. Alessandro.
Thank you. But as I said before, I think the content is the king of my show. And so with just one voice, I think I couldn't go over 15 minutes. I think people would start sleeping with just one voice.
Isn't that the point? If it's a mindfulness show, don't you want people to fall asleep and feel content? So that's interesting. So basically 15 minutes is the maximum length of your show. And I love it. And how often? Is it once a week? Is it daily?
Yeah, once a week.
That's it. Once a week, maximum 15 minutes, between 5-10 minutes is the average. You've hit almost, you're getting to a million downloads. That's incredible. Alessandro, is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with? Any advice? Anyone who is either just getting started with podcasting or they're looking to really grow and they're wondering what could they do to grow?
Yes, for sure. First, don't try to be perfect since the beginning. Okay, start and go.
Start and go.
Yes, and the show will improve as time goes by. And the second one is about voice, because it's my personal experience, but I think it's the experience of many podcasters in the world. We usually hate our voice. So especially at the beginning, we think we are not gifted for podcasting because we have a bad voice. It's bullshit. Sorry for the word.
Bullshit. But, it's good. In Italian, it sounds so much better. Bullshit. I love that.
So,
how do you say bullshit in Italian, by the way?
È una stronzata.
Oh, it sounds so good. It sounds like you compliment me. È la santa.
and so don't pay too much attention to your voice. You will love it. You will love your voice going on. The more episodes you produce, And the more you will like your voice, you will start knowing your voice. You will start to know how your voice sounds with your microphone. And so you will start to educate a bit your voice. So you will start a relationship with your voice. And I think that's a good turning point for your show.
It's so Italian to say, it's so romantic. You're going to start a relationship with your voice. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's art. And I really relate. I resonate with everything you just said, because I hated the sound of my voice when I did the first, I would say until I got to like maybe 50 episodes, I would cringe. I would just listen to it. I couldn't listen to it. And it's really weird to say this, but I'll say it. I do love my voice now. Like I hear my voice and I like it. It sounds good.
Yes.
To me,
You have a wonderful voice anyway.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But that's great advice. It's great advice. And a lot of people say to me, Daniel, no, I just don't think I have the voice for podcasting, or I'm embarrassed to do it. So it's really great advice. You've got to just get used to it. And like you said, you eventually build a relationship with your voice. I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Alessandro. Thank you for coming on Grow Your Show, and happy podcasting.
Thank you very much, Daniel.